we are a very reactionary society in general right now. I think we are people throwing fits left and right. I mean, we've basically entered as a culture sort of an infantile stage where everything is an outrage and I'm upset, and the louder and harder I scream, the more justified I feel. But there's really no peace in that.
Yep.
I mean, it's...
So if I could kind of string together some of the advice it sounds like you're giving, and I would wholeheartedly agree, one of them is like, what does your prayer life look like? Are you spending time reading the scriptures? Are you spending time praying? Are you taking your spiritual life? Yeah. Is your spiritual life about the scriptures and communing with Christ and growing in virtue? Or is your spiritual life just refreshing your ecclesial newsfeed and feeling frustrated? So that would be one, right? Prayer. The other one would be to take seriously what is the sin of curiosity, right? So Aquinas talks about studiousness, right, as the virtue, correct? And then curiosity is a sin.
Yeah.
How would you define curiosity? Because
in some sense, it's wanting to know things, one, that you don't need to know.
Yeah. And maybe abandoning obligations in order to do the thing you don't need to be doing too. Yeah.
Yeah. And just wanting to know for the sake of knowing, but not...
I mean, how true is that? I mean, we all have this experience. You're on a website and it says, you'll never guess what this actor's child looks like now. And you're like, why am I looking at this? This is the sin of curiosity.
Yeah.
And so, all right, so prayer, avoiding the sin of curiosity, detaching from social media.
You have to take in some good food somewhere. You can't allow most or even a significant percent, let's say even 25%. If 25% of your spiritual diet on a regular basis is negative social media rants about the church, you're not going to be healthy. We have plenty of resources in the church with good materials to let's focus on actually learning about the mysteries and meditating upon them. Take in the beauty of your faith and let that be your focus. Because even when you're right to be upset about something, you can't make that everything.
Yeah.
Because there's so much that the Catholic faith has to offer that's so beautiful and so worth meditating on, that to abandon that because all I can focus on is this one itch.
Yeah.
And I can't look away.
Yeah.
You need to.
I think one of the reasons Daily Wire is so popular is often, whatever grievances you have with Daily Wire, often it feels like they're looking at you and reassuring you that you're not insane, right? So you live in this increasingly degenerate culture that's lying to us constantly. And they say with great passion and articulation that you're not the insane one. And it's just a breath of fresh air, right? And so the analogy I'm using, of course, is when you feel like you're in a church that's becoming unhinged, the people who are expressing with great energy and articulation that you're not the insane one, it's a relief. So I think a lot of us go to it for a relief. Please tell me I'm not insane here.
Right.
But I think everyone recognizes that to live in the Daily Wire space is just to become, and this isn't a criticism of the Daily Wire hosts, but if you're listening to, let's just say, like 4 podcasts a day from Daily Wire, and that's, how much time does that take? I don't know if people do this, but 4 or 5 hours of your day? Yeah. How can you live a balanced life? And then likening that to the outrage in the church, yeah, it might initially be a sense of relief for you to be told, no, you're okay. Like, your desire for the reverence and the sound teaching is good. Relief. But then if that becomes a big percentage of my day, I end up feeling agitated and angry, but more superior. So I have this sense of, I'm better than these people. These people are idiots. And that's the language. Like, just scroll the combox section. That's the language people are using. These people are idiots, they're heretics, they're schismatics, and without any kind of nuance. And
right. Well, and I think that's part of my frustration, because just dispositionally, I'm much more traditionally minded. But that means I expect more of my side.
Yeah.
And when I see people in the name of tradition or conservatism say things that are just not true, lying about the council and what it taught or what it said, not giving it, even bothering to read it and actually take it in and even bother trying to have any sort of, obedience of intellect and will, or just blowing things up out of proportion. Like I call it a soapbox or a soap opera approach to the church and the council, and that where we're going to sensationalize this. It's going to be like reading the National Enquirer, and I'm going to tell you this tale about what happened and blah, blah, blah. And this guy was in this room writing on this draft document. Therefore, we can't trust the ecumenical council. It's like, if we did that to every ecumenical council, there's a bad actor involved. I guarantee you. Mm-hmm. There are bad people in every ecumenical council. Like, you don't vitiate the authority of an ecumenical council because you can point to a handful of people that may have had malintent. That's not how this works. Like, we forget the incarnational character of the church. And yeah, the wheat and chaff will always be there. But when we say that we believe that Christ established his church and that it has real authority, and that real authority is invested in the successors, the apostles, and successor of St. Peter, we mean that in an actual concrete sense. It's not a mathematical formula. We're saying, yeah, we check the box, yes. But then concretely, we can pretend it's the exact opposite. Mm-hmm. And we have to take that seriously. And I think what I get upset at most radical traditionalist things is the inaccuracies that go around the legitimate complaints. And that's what bothers me. Or when I see it going into a vicious means of expressing it, where now it becomes hatred. Mm-hmm. There's a line, I think it's from Luke's Gospel, where I've been thinking about this for years, where it says that something about there will be an increase in evil doing, and therefore the hearts of many, or the charity of many hearts, will grow cold. And I thought, when you first read it, I think, well, of course, because as we all know from our Baltimore Catechism, that mortal sin destroys the virtue of charity in the soul, and therefore the people who are sinning, their hearts are going to grow cold because they're going to lose the virtue of charity. I don't read it that way anymore. I think what it actually is saying is that because of an increase in evil doing, the hearts of the faithful are going to grow cold, and that we're in danger of losing the virtue of charity because we are starting to hate those people. And it actually gets to the point where we no longer are even desiring, we might give lip service to, I wish they would convert, but it's faithful people are always in danger of getting to a state of animosity and losing the virtue of charity.
I'll give you an example from my own life of how I think I would lack charity, right? I asked myself the honest question, would I rather see Joe Biden shamed at Holy Mass by being denied the Eucharist and him kicking up a stink, but the priest being... what am I taking delight in there? I'm really not... God have mercy on me, a sinner, right? I'm really not... and I don't think I'm unique in this. I'm really not taking delight in the church loving Joe Biden enough, to warn him about the reality of hell and the things he needs to abandon, repent of. What I'm taking delight in is him kind of being embarrassed, maybe. And that, God have mercy.
That's an interesting,
But I think a lot of Catholics would be, and maybe it's both. It's probably both. But I think the first visceral thing is really just the thank God. This guy's a.
See, that's interesting, because I would have suspected that the reason is finally someone stood up and did something about.
I think it's both. Yeah. But I think when it goes viral, put it this way: when that incident goes viral, people are probably clicking on it because thank God we have a faithful priest. But they're also excited to see Joe Biden being put in his place. And not put in his place so that he can repent, but put in his place because we don't like him.
Right. Although I don't know, again, I'm not a canon lawyer. I don't know if an individual priest can make that decision. I think it is up to the bishop. So, but the instance could be the priest under the direction of the bishop has done this, or the bishop finally comes out and says something. Yeah. I guess everyone would have to ask themselves that question, like, which are you? Like, what are you actually rejoicing in?
I'm bringing up the example just to sort of shed light on all of our hearts, right? To like, what is it that I'm...
Yeah, and it's not easy. I mean, let's face it, it's not easy. The world has gone insane. Like, we've completely detached from the reality of metaphysics, of like ontological reality.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. Before you go, do us a favor, leave a comment, let us know what you thought of the video, like, and subscribe.